अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। चलो जल्दी जल्दी ज्वाइन हो जाओ बच्चों। आई होप अच्छे खासे बच्चे ज्वाइन हो गए। ओके, विल स्टार्ट द लेक्चर नाउ। हाँ ठीक है, वो भी बताता हूँ इंशाल्लाह। Today we started our new chapter, or yesterday I think we started our new chapter, that is horticultural practices. We saw the basic introductory part. That is, we saw the meaning of the word term horticulture. That is hortus and coler. Hortus means garden and coler means to cultivate. So cultivating garden crop is called as horticultural in simple terms. Okay. Then we saw different branches of horticulture like pomology, olericulture, floriculture. Then other than that, some sub branches were also seen, like plantation crops where there's spices, and then aromatic plants or medicinal plants, post harvest technology, plant propagation. These were the other branches of horticulture that we saw. Then we saw the meaning of landscape gardening. Then what India ranks in fruit production or vegetable production, that is in both the uh, fruits as well as in vegetables. India ranks second after Brazil and China. We saw that. Then we started the next point, that was importance of horticulture. Yeah, importance of horticulture. We saw different points of that, like economic, employment, or nutrition wise, industrial wise, okay, or religious and sacred value. These points were covered in economic, or economic importance of horticulture. And the next point we started half class, in one class I have completed this point, while in other class I have to complete. So I'll go through again the scope for horticulture. Okay, let me start the screen first. Okay, is screen visible to everyone? Is the screen visible to everyone? Okay. Scope for horticulture. Scope means what? If we go in this particular business in horticulture, or what are the different types of businesses that can be involved along with horticulture. Okay, that things are included in this scope. In future we can do the business of all these things. We can become the farmer, or we can become the person who provides all the necessary requirement of that horticulture business, the farming. Okay. First is high-tech horticulture. This, if we see the scope, high-tech horticulture, what we do in this particular system, we adopt intensive production system, and the new technologies that are developed, those technologies are included for the cultivation of different types of crops. Which crops? It may be the indigenous crop, or it may be the exotic crops. Indigenous means the crops which belong to India, and exotic which belongs outside India. We bring them in our country, and then we cultivate those crops. That those are the exotic crops. So whatever requirement of these crops are there, we can do the business of that requirement. Next is micro irrigation. Micro irrigation, providing water according to the requirement of the crop. Okay, one, so because of that, one, we are saving the water, and we are always providing the water to the crop according to their requirement. Okay, so two benefits are there. Now, is there any problem because some students have left the lecture after giving their name? I'll take the photograph, huh? Tell everyone that each and every point. After 5 minutes, 6 minutes, I will take the photograph. Who is present and who is absent, I'll see that. Okay. The next is use of plastic. Plastic means what here? Basically, we are going to use the plastic for two things. One is polyhouse, that is the protected cultivation. The very next point, for that plastics are used, or for mulching. When we do the cultivation in the farm, we do the mulching of organic as well as inorganic material. So plastic is the inorganic material which is used for mulching. It is one of the best mulches to control the weeds, to maintain the temperature, to save the water. All these things, for all these things, plastics are used, especially black polythene. And also those plastics are used for post harvest handling. Next is protected cultivation. Just now I told that protected cultivation means the greenhouses or the polyhouses. Okay? For the production of high value crops, this particular system is adopted irrespective of season and irrespective of climatic condition. We can cultivate any type of crop in any type of area by using protected cultivation, because we are maintaining, or we are controlling all the weather elements. That weather element may be temperature, water requirement, humidity. Okay, all the things are controlled in protected cultivation, that is greenhouse or polyhouse, and because of that we can cultivate high value crops throughout the year, again irrespective of season and irrespective of time. Next is precision farming. In precision farming, we try to minimize the wastage of all the inputs or the resources that are available with the farmer. Okay? And we also make use of the latest technology in precision farming. Okay, so technology based farming, especially the GPS or remote sensing, those things are used in precision farming, and with the help of that we do the cultivation, and that's why there is minimum wastage of all the inputs or resources that are available with the farmer. The next is high density planting. Already we have discussed this. In high density planting, we reduce the distance between the plants, the spacing between the plants, and because of that we get more quantity of yield from the every plot per unit area. The yield is always higher in case of high density planting. Next is integrated nutrient management. In the integrated nutrient management, what we do, we mix or we take the combination of organic as well as inorganic resources. Okay, means the chemicals and compost, vermicompost, FYM, all these things are combined together so that we may we make availability of nutrients in the soil in large quantity without hampering its fertility. If we go only for chemical fertilizers, they will degrade the soil, they will reduce the fertility status of the soil. So if we are combining it with organic material, definitely the structure, the texture, the fertility status of the soil will be maintained, and with the help of inorganic resources we can increase our production. So both the things can be uh, adopted by integrated nutrient management. The next is integrated pest management. We have already studied in chapter number 11 that different methods of pest control are there, like uh, physical method, cultural method, mechanical method, biological method, chemical method. All these methods they are combined together in a suitable way, and then they are applied into the farm to control the pest. And we, because of this combination of different methods, we are reducing the use of pesticides and insecticides, and thus there is less hazard to the crop plants as well as to the soils that happens due to the chemicals. Integrated pest management. The next is mechanization. Mechanization means what? Here we are going to use heavy machineries, because of which the labor requirement of that particular area will be reduced. Then the field operations, which normally take more time, with the help of labors, it will be done at a very fast rate, and we can handle large amount of area very easily, and that too at a faster rate. Mechanization. Next is organic farming. We all know that nowadays people they tend towards use of organic material. They want to eat organic food, organic product. Okay? And the demand for that is very high, as we are using all the natural inputs or organic inputs for the cultivation of organic crop. That's why its demand is increasing. We the people we are trying to consume less amount of chemical. For that, organic farming is one of the best options. Next is contract farming. We have already studied in chapter number 3 that in contract farming there is a contract executed between farmer and the consumer, that is the producer and consumer. Consumer, it tells the farmer about the his requirement. If farmer is ready, then they execute a contract between them, and according to that contract they provide all the crops or all the material required by the consumer. Okay, so because of this the marketing strategies they are increasing in the market. Next is export or import trade. We all know that from our country, huge quantity of fruits, vegetables, flowers, and many different crops they are sent to foreign countries. So we have a good export business from our country. Similarly, many crops or many products they are imported from foreign countries. So we can go for import or export of different agri horticultural produces. So these were the important scope for horticulture. Next is the comparison of area, production, and productivity of horticultural crops. See, the year is given that in what was the area or the production or productivity in the year 1991, 92, and 2016-17, and you can see the difference between these 20 years gap. If we take the example of fruits they were produced or they were sown on an area 2,874,000 hectare in 1991, and that is now increased to around 6,480,000 hectares. Okay, so this is the difference between area in 92 to 2017. Similarly, if you see the production in 92, it was around 28,632, and now it is 92,846. Similarly, productivity is also increased from 996 to 14.33 metric tons per hectare. So this is the difference if we combine the year 92 and 17. Similarly, vegetables, plantation crop, spices, all those crops have now increased since 1992. Its area has increased, its production has increased, then its productivity has increased. Everything is now, alhamdulillah, increased. Okay. So, and this particular data was given by National Horticulture Board. Okay. Next is planning and layout of orchard. For the preparation of or for the making of new fruit or vegetable or any kind of orchard, there are certain points that should be considered. Okay. The first point in planning and layout of orchard is the selection of site. We'll just wait for 2 minutes. Let me message on the group. Okay. Next point is selection of site. Uh, Orchard, we are talking about the horticultural crops. So site selection is very important, or it is of prime importance. Why? Because if we commit a mistake at the initial stage of preparation of orchard, then that mistake cannot be rectified, or it cannot be corrected at the latter stage. That is, after after we have prepared the layout, after we have selected the site, we cannot correct that problem. We all know that site, that is the plot or the land, it is very costly. We'll buy 1 hectare area for 20, 30, 40 lakhs, and then we think that no, this particular land is not good. So you can't do anything, because you have bought that particular land for huge amount of money. So we should not make mistake like that, because huge amount of money is invested in this particular area, or in that, for buying the plot. So before we buy the plot or we select the site, we need to consider certain factors. After considering that factors, after analyzing those criterias, we have to buy the plot. Okay. Okay, some students, they are saying that they are present, and some are asking for the link. Just wait and wait. I'll send the link to the students. Okay, we were discussing about the site selection. So which are the factors that should be considered while selecting the site? See, first is the site which we are selecting, it should be favorable for the fruit region. As we are going to cultivate fruit crops, we need to select the best site for cultivation of fruits. So the region, it should be favorable for that particular fruit. Okay. If we select the region of Dapoli, so the fruit which is best grown in our region is mango, or we can also go for cashew nut. So likewise, regions should be selected according to the crop which we are selecting. If I decide that I want to cultivate grape, so for the cultivation of grapes, Dapol is not a good area. I have to go to Nashik and all those areas. Okay. So according to the fruit or according to the requirement of the fruit, we have to select the region. The next, the site which we are selecting, it should not be that site, it should be free from stagnation of water. See, especially during the rainfall season or rainy season, there is a chance that the site which we have selected, it may be stagnated with water. Stagnated with water means what? Water in the rainy season, it may collect in that particular plot. So we have to check for that. We have to select the plot which is free of that water, that is stagnation of water. The next is the climatic conditions of the site. It should be according to the fruit crop that we are choosing. Again, every crop it requires, or every fruit it requires certain climatic conditions, so accordingly we have to select the site. Then the area which we are selecting, it should have good quality irrigation water, and that too throughout the year, because fruits, they or vegetables or flower crops, they require huge quantity of water as they are perennial in nature. ठीक है, they are not like agronomic crops grown for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. ठीक है, comparatively water requirement of agronomic crop is very less, but fruit crops, they require huge quantity of water for a long period of time. So the site which we are selecting, it should have that much quantity of water available. Then the soil, which the area which we are selecting, it should have good quality of soil. The soil should be fertile. Even the subsoil, the deeper layer of the soil, it should also be good enough. Not only the top layer, we have to check the subsurface of the soil also for the cultivation of fruit crops. Then as I told, irrigation facility should be available. Similarly, drainage facility should also be available in that particular site. What is drainage? It is the removal of excess water from the farm. So वीडियो नहीं दिख रहा है क्या? स्पीड का वगैरह यहाँ पे कुछ इश्यू तो नहीं दिख रहा है? विजिबल है क्या वीडियो? ठीक है, आपका आयशा मेमन, आपके नेट का इशू होगा, चेक कर लो आप, ठीक है. What was I telling? Drainage facilities, it should be available, that is for the removal of excess water. I already told that excess water is not good, stagnation of water is not good for the fruit trees, so there should be provision of drainage. Then the site which we are selecting, it should have continuous supply of electricity. Then it should be nearer to the city or the market, because many requirements are there for the construction or for the making of orchard, or even after we have planted the trees, regular things are required. So for that, market or city should be nearer, so that we can bring those things as and when required. And if city or market is not near, then that orchard, the site, it should be connected with good road, so that we can go at a fast rate into the market and bring the necessary materials. Next is our site, it should also be nearer to industries, because the industries, if they are established there, we can go, we can ask for their guidance, we can ask for their cooperation, they can help us. Okay, for that reason the site, it should be nearer to the horticultural industries. Then the site where we are selecting, which we are selecting, it should have the surrounding, the people which they are living there, they should be skilled and they should be cheaper, because we all know that right now labor wages, they are increasing spontaneously. Okay, so if the area it is having skilled labor at cheaper rate, then it will be beneficial for the cultivation of horticultural crops. And then last point is that the site, it should be near to the processing industries, as well as it should be nearer to the cold storage facilities, because we all know that many fruits, they are perishable in nature. Vegetables, they are perishable in nature. Okay, so they should be stored in cold storages so that shelf life of those fruits and vegetables increases. Even if they are not perishable, we need to store them in cold storages. For example, apple. Apple is, it is not a perishable fruit. Uh, it can remain in good condition for a good period of time. But if we store it in cold storage, then it can remain in good condition for 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, likewise time. For this much time period, that fruit can be stored. ठीक है, so cold storage facilities should be available, and processing industries for making different kinds of products. For that, if industries are available, there will be huge benefit to the farmers. So after we have considered this particular, after we have nahi, after we have selected this, we have considered all these factors according to the criteria which we have discussed right now. We have to make that land leveled, and we have to bring it to the fine till. Okay, and according to the crops that we are going to cultivate, we have to prepare the layout. Okay, and we have to give good amount of sufficient space for the roads, for the path, then for irrigation channels. We have, एक मिनट है जरा, लेक्चर चालू है, चुप रहो। वो नहीं है यहाँ पे। नहीं, टाइम लगेगा उनको। घर पे होंगे, हाँ। Provision of adequate drainage, already we discussed, it should be available. And one more thing is that when we are constructing or preparing the orchard, windbreaks should be available. What are windbreaks? These are the trees. Windbreaks are the trees that are planted at the border of the orchard. Okay, in detail we'll study later on. It is already given in detail. So just remember that windbreaks are planted at the border area of the orchard. Okay, so that it prevents the crops. The next is, this was all about the selection of site. Next is layout of the orchard. We need, for the preparation of the layout, we need to again follow certain points. We'll see one by one which are those points. First is, we have to make sure there is optimum spacing between the trees that we are going to plant. See, each and every area, for example, take the example of mango. Normally we sow or we do the planting of mango at a distance of 10 by 10 meters. So that spacing is, this is the traditional spacing required by mango. We have to put, or we have to select that optimum spacing so that maximum number of trees can be planted in the area or in that particular plot. Then one more thing is that in every farm there are always certain farm buildings. So farm buildings where a supervisor sits, it should always be at the entrance of the orchard, or it should be in the center of the orchard, or it should be at a high level from where he can make sure, or he can do the supervision. He makes sure that every work, all the work, or all the workers, they are doing their work properly. So for better supervision, the farm buildings, they should always at the entrance is the best place. Okay, although center as well as high level is given, but the entrance is the best space where we can go for the farm buildings. Okay, then there is a rule that we should not plant the large trees mixed with the small trees, because there will be the problem of shading effect will be seen on the small trees, and if there is shading effect, then the flowering or the fruit setting of small trees, it will be hampered. The next is, we have to plant the trees according to their soil requirement. Every fruit crop, every vegetable, every flower, it requires certain soil. So whatever crop we are selecting, they should be planted according to their soil requirement. If soil is not present in that particular site, in that particular locality, then we have to bring it from some other places. Okay. Next is irrigated trees. They should always be nearer to the source of the water. Otherwise, what will happen? Our cost will increase. If we are planting those trees away from the source of water, definitely we need to prepare, or we need to provide the channels or pipeline system, and it will increase the cost. Or and if they are nearer to the source of the water, then the cost will be very low. Then evergreen trees, they should always be planted at the front of the orchard, and deciduous trees, they should be always at the backside of the orchard, because the look of the orchard, it depends upon the plantation of this type of crops. Evergreen, they are always green in color, so they increase or they beautify the orchard. Okay, people, they tend to look at beautiful things. They always go for things which are looking good. So evergreen trees, they should be at the front, and deciduous at the back. Then trees which are having big canopy, which covers the whole space, those trees, they should be always at the back side. And trees which are having less canopy, they should be always in the front of the orchard. Okay. Then fruits that are attacked by birds and animals, they should be nearer to the watchman's shed, so that he always he can supervise those fruits. He can watch for these fruits, and if any bird or animal is attacking, uh, he will immediately tell the or he works so that those birds and animals, they go away. Next is the pollinator should be available in the fruit trees where incompatible self incompatible fruits are there, like mango. What are self incompatible fruit trees? See, mango or bear, these are the trees in the flower of these trees, male as well as female parents are present, but their pollination does not happen naturally. That's why they are called as self incompatible fruit trees. Okay, so they require certain pollinators who take the pollen, that is male gamete, male part of the flower to the female part. So for these type of crops, pollinators are required. Next is crops which require equal spacing. They should always be in one block. Like mango, it requires 10 by 10 meter, it should go in one block. If we are cultivating in the same farm, if we are cultivating along with mango, banana, which requires 1.25 by 1.25 meter, it should be in another block. And if we are adding some other crops in it, according to that, according to the spacing, we have to change their blocks. Okay, so these were the requirements of the layout of orchard. These points should be considered for the layout, and after we have considered it, we can go for the plantation. Okay, so if we are developing new orchard, there are again certain points that should be considered. First is the fencing. We all know that fruits, vegetables, flower crops, these all crops are of high value. The prices or the amount, they are sold in the market at a high rate, so they require protection. When we are constructing the orchard or the farm, they require protection, and for the protection of this farm, fencing is done. Okay, fencing, it will prevent the crops from the destruction of stray animals. Mostly stray animals or the cattles, they attack those crops. Even we certain type of people, humans are also there, they also enter the orchard or the farm. So to prevent that attack, we need to provide, or we need to do fencing. Okay, and fencing, it is always done from all the sides of the garden, from all the four sides of the garden. And the benefit of that fencing is it will protect the farm, and it will also help for marcation. It will also decide the boundary of our farm. So two benefits of fencing is there. Okay, then Fences, it may be of two types. Live fencing can also be done, and non-live fencing can also be done. In case of live fencing, we can go for plantation of thorny or dead bushes. Okay, but dead bushes, they are, or the thorny, even thorny bushes, we need to regularly repair and replace them. That is the problem of that. And if we are going for non living fences like wire fencing, barbed wire fencing, then grill, then they are for, they are good protectors. They can be placed for a long period of time, but the problem is that their initial cost is very high, but they are of best, they are the best to control the stray animals or any other problems. Okay, now we'll see the types of fences. I already told two fences are there, live and live fencing or non-living fencing. So in live fencing, they are very cheap, we all know that, and they are considered as one of the best protections for the crop plants. Okay, which crops or which plants are used as live fences? Vilaiti babul is there, chiller is there, or carissa carandas, that is karvanda, which we consume in the months of April and May. So these plants, they are of thorny nature, and they are good live fences. Other than this, many different crops are used, like ghaneri is there, cacti is there, then mendi is there, cajurina, sagargota, shendri, adolsa. All these plants, they are used as live fences. Okay, then non-living fences, already I told, barbed wire, grills, or compound wall also can be constructed, but it is not considered good for the horticultural crops. Then electrical fencing or solar wire fencing is also done. See, electrical fencing, it has the volts present in it is very high. So if a person or if an animal touches those wires, he'll get a very strong shock. And whereas if we go for solar wire fencing, then that fence, it has solar cells or the battery rays are there, and because of that, very minute current is present in that. So people or the animals, if they touch it, they will get very minimum shock. Okay, even though from the electrical fencing we get very strong shock, but it is provided or it is permissible by the government. So we can go for electrical fencing also. It is not like if some person dies, then there will be criminal case, a case against us. No, that won't happen. Okay, so this was the fencing for the protection of the crop plants. Next is planting systems. So before I start planting system, I think everything is smooth. Screen is visible to everyone. हाँ बच्चों, स्क्रीन दिख रही है ना बराबर? ये बच्चे हैं। Okay, we'll start the planting system. Planting system means what? The actual layout that we are going to prepare. In that, different kinds of planting systems are there. See, when we are laying out the orchard, then that orchard laying, it begins with the baseline. Just let me show you how the baseline is prepared. See, suppose this is our boundary. See, this is our farm. Okay, so let suppose I am going to do the plantation of mango crop. So I already told that mango, it requires 10 by 10 meter spacing. So this is our end of the orchard. We have to take one side of that line, and we have to 10 by 10 meter is the distance. So first we have to take half of that distance. What is the half of 10? 5. For the making of the baseline, we have to prepare a baseline of 5 meters at one. side of the orchard. At one side of the orchard, we have to take 5 meter distance, huh? From here to here. This is 5 meter distance. If the crop is suppose uh, santra, the distance of santra, because I am regularly mango has been taken for many times. The spacing for santra is 6 by 6 meter. ठीक है, so half of 6 is 3 meters. So for the baseline preparation of for santra, we need to mark this baseline at 3 meter distance. ठीक है, I think you have understood how the baseline is fixed. And then with the help of carpenter meter system, we have to prepare right angles from this baseline. Once we have prepared the baseline, here also the distance kept is same, 5 meters, and with the help of that carpenter system, we have to prepare the baseline, the second and third line. Okay, and after that the fourth line is connected with it. In this way, we have to prepare the baseline from all the four directions. Okay, by taking the half the distance of the uh, fruit crop that we are going to select. Okay, so once we have made or prepared the baseline, now it becomes very easy for the plantation. And for plantation, different systems are adopted. We'll see the systems now. After we have prepared the baseline, now the systems that are given, that are adopted. Which are the different systems? We'll see. We'll start one by one. First one is square system. What we do in square system, here the fields, they are divided into square depending upon its spacing. Again, I'll take the example of santra. 6 by 6 meter is the spacing, है ना? So I have to prepare squares likewise by taking 6 by 6 meter distance. Perfect squares are prepared, and then at each vortex we have to do the plantation. This is the vortex. At each vortex we have to do the planting. Okay, here. So this is square method. This particular method is the easiest system that farmers adopt, most commonly adopted system, and it is even very convenient. We can go for intercropping, intercultivation from all the directions. Okay, but the problem is that we have to select only those crops which are having equal or same spacing. 10 by 10, 1.25 by 1.25, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6. Likewise, spacing crops are planted by adopting this particular method, that is square system. Okay. Okay. Next is second is rectangular system. What we do in rectangular system, here the plant to plant and row to row distance is different. Okay, we have to divide the plot in the rectangles according to the spacing, and then we do the plantation. Again, the plantation is done at the vortex, that is the points where the lines they intersect with each other. Those lines are the vortex. Okay, here in rectangle system, the row to row distance, r to r distance, and plant to plant distance, they are different. You can see the example of grape. In the grape, the spacing taken is 3 by 2 meters. Okay, so plant to plant, row to row distance is 3 meters, and plant to plant distance is 2 meter. At the vortex of, after we prepare the layout, we have to do the plantation at this each vortex. ठीक है, this is rectangular system. दिख रहा है ना सबको? Next is hexagonal system. See here, rectangular system. Next is hexagonal system. Now in this particular system, in hexagonal system, what we do the plantation of seedlings or the saplings at each vertex of equilateral triangle. What is equilateral triangle? The triangle whose all sides are equal, 60 degree, 60 degree, and 60 degree. We all know that equilateral triangle, even the sides are same. These all sides are equal, the all angles are equal, so that triangle is called as equilateral triangle. So we have to prepare equilateral triangle, and then we have to do the sowing of that of the plant at the कॉर्नर ऑफ दिस ऑल एंगल. ठीक है. सो इक्विलेटरल ट्रायंगल्स कैसे बनाए जाते हैं, देखो यहाँ पे बनाए, फिर ऐसे ही उल्टा यहाँ पे बनाया जाता है. ठीक है. ये लाइन है और ये उल्टा ट्रायंगल, ये हो गया. इसी तरीके से बाकी पूरे प्लांट्स लगाए जाते हैं. अब यहाँ पे इसका बेनिफिट क्या है कि बीच में एक फिलर क्रॉप को लगाया जाता है. ठीक है. वी हैव टू कनेक्ट दिस. यू कैन सी दिस नाउ. ये बन गया अब हेक्सागन. 1 2 3 4 5 6, 6 साइड बन गया. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज हेक्सागोनल सिस्टम. एंड एट ईच corner of this triangle we have to do the plantation. As we are doing the plantation of a addition crop in the center, this particular system, it is also called as septuple. इसको और क्या बोलते हैं? As there is seventh plant in the middle, it is also called as septuple. This particular method has benefit over square system. That is 15% of more plants can be planted in hexagonal system. As well as this system is adopted for the crops which are of high value nature. Under high value, the crops which are of high value, those crops are mostly selected because this hexagonal system is adopted in the areas where the plot or the lands they are very costly. So in those areas, hexagonal system is adopted. This particular system is very difficult for layout. It requires more time, and then again we cannot go for intercultivation operations also. Intercropping or intercultivation operations are difficult in this particular system. That's why regular basis पे इस मेथड को अडॉप्ट करते नहीं है. ठीक है. It is very hectic method. That's why it is only adopted in the areas where the plots are very costly, so that we can increase the number of plants in those areas. Okay. So this was all about the hexagonal system. चलो next is ट्रायंगुलर सिस्टम है. यस, ट्रायंगुलर सिस्टम. ट्रायंगुलर सिस्टम में क्या किया जाता है? हियर सैपलिंग्स दे आर प्लांटेड इन स्क्वायर सिस्टम. स्क्वायर सिस्टम जैसा ही है, जैसा ये ऊपर हमने देखे ना वैसा ही. लेकिन अ बेसिक डिफरेंस इज दैट कि ये देखो, ये प्लांट यहाँ पे लगाए, ये प्लांट यहाँ पे लगाए, स्क्वायर के जैसे यहाँ पे लगाए. लेकिन जो सेकेंड रो है, यहाँ पे जो सेकेंड रो है, इस रो के प्लांट को यहाँ न लगाते हुए यहाँ पर लगाया जाता है. इट इज प्लांटेड इन दी मिड वे. समझ में आ रहा है? फिर यहाँ पे रहेगा प्लांट, फिर यहाँ पे, फिर वापस यहाँ पे. इस तरीके से प्लांट्स को लगाया जाता है. ठीक है. तो इसकी वजह से ये बन जाते हैं ट्रायंगल. समझ में आया बच्चों? ये देखो, ये हो गया ट्रायंगल. हाँ, ये देखो, यहाँ फोटो होगा. ये देखो, ट्रायंगल सिस्टम. अगेन दिस सिस्टम इज ऑल्सो नॉट गुड मेथड. इसमें भी कोई बेनिफिट वगैरह नहीं है स्क्वायर सिस्टम के मुकाबले में. सिर्फ एक ही फायदा है कि यहाँ यहाँ और यहाँ पे, फिर यहाँ पे, यहाँ पे, ये देखो, ये प्लांट यहाँ पर है, यहाँ बीच में एक ही है, फिर यहाँ पे दो है। तो इनको स्पेसिंग, जो खुली जगह है वो ज्यादा मिलती है, बस इतना ही फायदा है, वरना और कुछ स्क्वायर सिस्टम के मुकाबले में बड़ा फायदा इसमें नहीं है। इसमें उल्टा नुकसान क्या है कि लेबर्स के लिए या इंटरकल्टिवेशन के लिए क्रॉप हम लोग काम सही से नहीं करा सकते। लाइक इन square system or in rectangular system, we can go for intercultivation operation, we can go for intercrops, ठीक है। Similarly, in this particular type, the work of labor, it becomes difficult, hectic. Even the intercultivation operation, it also becomes hectic. Okay, so this particular method, that is triangular system, it is adopted mostly in the hilly areas, ठीक है, for the plantation on slopy areas, triangular system. But the actual system that is adopted for slope, it is different. Okay, we'll see that also. Wait a minute. So the next method is quincunx system. Quincunx system is what? It is again similar to square system only. Only the difference is that addition of one additional sapling is done in the center, which is called as filler crop. See, this system is similar to square system. Only the difference is the plantation of a crop in the center of that square, and this is called as filler crop. ठीक है, this filler crop, it is planted there for a short period of time. Means what? You can take it as an intercrop for a short period of time. ठीक है, once our this perennial crop, these have, once they have completed their growth, they have grown enough, means they have arranged the good height, after that this filler crop is removed from the farm. Okay, so it is similar to square system, only the addition is the filler crop. Okay, this was the quincunx system. Next or the last system is the contour system. This particular contour system is adopted in the areas which have slopy or which are mountains, पहाड़ों में या फिर जहाँ पे हाई स्लोप्स रहते हैं वहां पे बनाए जाते हैं। ठीक है, now contour line is prepared on those slopy areas from the base, from the bottom of the hill. उस पहाड़ के बॉटम से एक इमेजिनरी लाइन बनाई जाती है जिसको कंटूर लाइन कहा जाता है, और वो इमेजिनरी लाइन एक एंड से दूसरे एंड पे कनेक्टेड रहती है। ठीक है, और ये नॉर्मली राइट एंगल में रहता है, लेकिन दिखते टाइम पे हमको इस तरीके से स्लोप दिखाई दे, ऐसा कर्व दिखाई देता है, लेकिन ये रहता है राइट एंगल में। एंड हियर वी डू दी प्लांटेशन सिमिलर टू दी स्क्वायर सिस्टम। ठीक है, इस तरीके से बनाया जाता है, एंड देन वी डू दी प्लांटेशन सिमिलर टू दी स्क्वायर सिस्टम likewise. Okay, so this was the contour system, and I'll repeat, the line, it is started from the bottom, नीचे से ऊपर जाया जाता है, ऊपर से नीचे आते नहीं है वरना सब बिगड़ जाएगा। So these were the different methods of planting systems. By adopting that systems, we do the plantation of fruit crops on the different types of farm. Okay, okay. नेक्स्ट यहाँ पे देखो एक प्रॉब्लम दिया हुआ है, प्लांट पॉपुलेशन का ही प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन इट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस सिस्टम्स दैट इज अडॉप्टेड, दैट इज स्क्वायर सिस्टम, हेक्सागोनल सिस्टम और क्विंकल सिस्टम। तो ये इन अलग अलग मेथड से हमको नहीं लेने, हम जो नॉर्मली स्क्वायर सिस्टम से जो हमने पढ़े वही सिस्टम से प्लांट पॉपुलेशन हमको निकालना है। ठीक है, ऑलरेडी हमारा ये हो चुका है, फिर भी एक बार वापस से मैं क्लास में इसको ले लूंगा। नेक्स्ट इज विंड ब्रेक्स। 12:42 हो गए। आई थिंक दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे। अगर आप बोलेंगे तो शाम में 4:45 से 5:45 बजे एक और लेक्चर हम ले लेंगे, लेकिन अभी के लिए इतना काफ़ी है। नमाज का भी वक्त हो रहा है. Okay, I'll stop here, and in the evening session, we'll start with the windbreaks and all the different points that are covered in this particular chapter. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.